We've not mentioned your old pal, woo, nature boy Ric Flair in a while, Dutch. I know.
Oh, that bastard. What's he done?
Oh God, you know his infuriating tweets where he puts a capital letter on every single word.
Yeah. I don't think he does that.
I
We've
think he
talked about
does.
that.
That's the worrying thing. I think he does. He must take it like with his little readers on, just go shift capital R, and like one finger stabbing at the words. Anyway, he wrote this a couple of weeks ago.
I guarantee you he doesn't do it. I don't think he has the mental capacity to give his attention to something for 5 minutes.
Do you think?
I really
Do
don't.
you think he dictates it to his dog to do
No,
it
I
for
think
him?
he got somebody that handles his social media.
Well, someone who's awful speller, or with a punctuation. Anyway, I've laughed, cried, and thought, and I'm so disappointed in one person that has let me down, and I gave my life to. Yes, I mean literally sacrificed millions to support her. Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you, Jimmy V. For, doesn't matter that bit. Okay, so he's complaining that he's given literally millions, I'm presuming millions of dollars, to support a woman. And this is how he sort of kicked off pre-Christmas with this tweet.
Well, who is this woman?
Well, he didn't mention it. It could have been... my theory was Wendy Barlow, the woman who he married / didn't marry, and
Yeah,
divorced / didn't divorce / separated recently.
I don't get it. I don't. I mean, I don't read Rick anyway because I think he's full of shit, and you can't believe Rick if he's talking 60 or 70% out of his mouth, he's just making up because you can't believe him. And so when he writes this, who's this supposed to? Is this intended for just one person?
Well, apparently he posted it for everyone to gawk at and judge this one person who he then didn't bother naming. But can you imagine the irony of Ric Flair complaining that he sacrificed millions for somebody else
Yeah,
with the amount of
right.
money that he's cost other people?
Yeah. And then Carrie Silken followed that up and said, well, how about giving him about 41 grand back?
Yeah, here's the quote. Please pay
You
me.
owe me.
Please pay me back the 41,000 you owe me for failing to appear at 4 signings. Sincerely, Carrie Silkin.
And I talked to Carrie. Carrie started Ring of Honor. So I asked him after I heard about this, I said, why did you give him $41,000? He went, well, that's what he wanted. I said, yeah, but why would you give it to him? He says, I don't know. Because you know how he started out,
Yeah,
Gary?
you said he was like ticket touting, didn't you?
Ticket seller. But not a ticket seller like he going to sit in a box office and sell tickets. He was a scalper.
Yeah.
And he'd buy all those tickets up for a less price. And then all of a sudden, the day of the show, he's right there and wrapping up.
We were trying to think of all the different ways, like with scams and stuff like that, and costing money and not turning up to signings or not fulfilling his obligations. Or one thing he did at conventions, if he saw there was heavy footfall, it'd go from $50 and he scratched out, 70, 80, there's still people in line. It's $100 for a signing or a photograph now. That kind of thing where it's just all money grabbing all the time, and it's always a one-way street with Rick. I believe. Is that fair to say? It's a one-way street, loyalty and money and everything.
Hey, anything you say about Flair, it has a 75% chance of being true. I'm not going to say anything bad about him, but if like Carrie Silken, he owes him 41. I sincerely believe that Carrie's telling the truth. I think, and there's been a few others that they would charge these promoters some outrageous sum to show up. They wouldn't even go to the airport to catch the flight. Then say, "Oh man, they canceled the flight, or I had a wreck, or I did this, or I did that." But no refunds came back in from these guys. See, they would collect the money to go and then not go.
He had his issues with high spots, I'm sure, at one point as well, and they ended up keeping a belt of his. So
Who's this?
Oh, this is years ago, Ric Flair again. Just more money issues and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Ric Flair then, in response to Carrie Silkin, tweeted a screenshot of a text message. I'll read you that in a second, but the tweet that Ric Flair said was, first person to comment after my post about whoever it was. Apparently not. I'm not the only one who has a problem with you, Carrie Silkin. And then the text message read, hey Rick, I hope you bury the F out of Carrie Silkin. He is the biggest money mark of all time. He funded Ring of Honor when I ran it and effed me over. He is the worst human of all time. I hate this guy. He's a con artist. Now, I'm presuming that's from Rob Feinstein, who were talking about sex offenders with Mr. Wrestling 2. He's the one who was caught on camera trying to meet up with a 14-year-old boy.
Yep, that's him. Before I
imagine that as a character witness, Dutch.
No kidding. I was in Puerto Rico and he came down and he says, can I get an interview with you? And I says, I said, yeah, I guess. This was when it was all new. And I did, I don't know, a couple of hours with him. But I didn't know that he was such I heard later he's not a very well respected member of our profession. And then he was caught trying to, with that underage, was it an underage girl?
No, it was an underage boy. It was a plant. It was one of those, what do they call it? Something justice. I can't remember what they were called.
Oh, I don't know.
Where they entrap you. Where they get you talking online, and then you turn around to the house and meet up, and it's actually a camera crew. So
what's he doing now, Feinstein?
Don't care. He's probably somehow still involved in wrestling some way or other. Anyway. But I just imagine that as like the guy, that's your character witness.
Oh, yeah. Well, but we don't even know if it's Rob Feinstein anyway. That could have been was his name on the tweet?
No. But that's my guess, anyway. I'm presuming it's him, and if it's not, well, why not bury him a bit anyway?